So I welcome you all to this last lecture session of the course Engineering Thermodynamics. In this lecture also we will further continue our discussion on the concept of exergy. Okay. So if you recall, in our last lecture we have talked about the decrease in exergy principle. Okay, so decrease of exergy principle. So what we were having some isolated system. Okay, and this isolated system was undergoing through some change of state from 1 to 2, and we found that for this isolated system, if I calculate del phi, which is equal to phi 2 minus phi 1, that is equal to minus T naught times S generation. Okay, then I have told you that T naught, as we are considering over here in absolute thermodynamic scale, so which is our Kelvin scale, so T naught is always greater than equal to 0, because at the reference point value of T naught in Kelvin is 0 Kelvin, and above that it's positive. Okay, and similarly S generation is a parameter which comes because of the irreversibility. For a reversible process it is equal to 0, and for irreversible it is greater than 0. So this is also greater than equal to 0. So it means this magnitude of T naught into S generation, it is a positive quantity. So if it is a positive quantity, it means my delta phi altogether will be a negative quantity. So the meaning of this, when a process takes place, during that process, what we will be having? We will be having actually some destruction of exergy. Okay. Why destruction of exergy? Because you can see the change in exergy while the process is, or while the system is changing thermodynamic state from 1 to 2. It means some process is happening. Then this T naught into S generation overall quantity is actually negative. So at max it can be 0 or it can be negative. Okay. So this particular quantity over here, T naught into S generation, many a times it is also called as X destruction. So basically including the sign also. So if I include sign also, then altogether minus T naught into S generation, many times it is given by symbol X, and we call it X destruction. Okay. So now if we talk about the magnitude of X destruction, so you can see X destruction, if this magnitude is equal to 0, it means our process is reversible. Okay, so if this magnitude is 0, then our process is reversible, and if this X destruction magnitude is greater than 0, this is a not possible situation. Okay, because T naught into S generation will be positive, and if we are including the sign also in X destruction, then this greater than 0 quantity is actually not possible. So this is not possible for any thermodynamic process. Like we will not be having any creation of the exergy. Okay, and if we are having X destruction less than 0, it means that is the situation when our process which is happening, that is actually irreversible. Okay, so this is how we can calculate this exergy destruction. Now you might be thinking that we have derived this one only for one isolated system, so how we are telling these statements for exergy destruction on generalized basis. Okay, so what we can do, we can consider our entire atmosphere as some isolated system. So let me consider this is my entire atmosphere. So what I can do, the outer boundary of the atmosphere I can consider nothing but as my isolated system, and inside this hypothetical boundary, whatever I am considering, I may have number of systems, say some system 1, I may have another system 2, then I may have some another system, n number of systems I may have inside this boundary, and obviously outside systems, whatever the space we will be having, that will be actually our surrounding, and the combination of all these systems, if we are enclosing inside some hypothetical boundary, so that hypothetical boundary will be acting like nothing but our isolated system. Okay, so that's why whatever this principle we have derived, this is in general true. So as we were having principle of increase of entropy, it means while some process will be happening, we will be having certain generation of the entropy. We can see that if we are having entropy generation, that leads to destruction of the exergy as per the formulation of exergy. So that's why in principle we will be always having destruction of exergy while some thermodynamic process will be happening. Okay. Now, let me talk about exergy balance for different kinds of systems. So first we are talking about exergy destruction, exergy principle or exergy balance in case of closed systems. Okay, so say this is, I am having some piston cylinder arrangement. So this represents a closed system. So this dashed line shows the boundary of the system. Now let us consider that we are having some heat interaction Q and some work interaction W over here. Okay. So we know that this heat and work carries certain amount of exergy and mass also carries certain amount of exergy. So if I have to write the balance of exergy, I can say that exergy in minus exergy out. Okay. So this exergy in minus exergy out may be because of three modes. One is, we have seen exergy transfers with transfer of heat, exergy also transfers with transfer of work, and exergy also transfers with transfer of mass. So because of these three parameters, we may have inflow and outflow of exergy. So x in minus x out, if we calculate net as x heat because of heat, work and mass. Okay, then if we are having some process, we may have some exergy destruction also. So this I am calling as, say, x destruction, that will be equal to change in exergy of the system. Okay, so we will be having x in minus x out, which is because of the heat, work and mass, plus any exergy destruction in our system, that will be equal to change in exergy of that system. So now for this typical system, whatever I have shown over here, you can see we are having Q amount of heat interaction. Okay, so if we are having Q amount of heat interaction, so exergy associated with this Q will be Q times 1 minus T naught divided by T. Okay, so this is the exergy which is associated with this Q amount of heat transfer. Then we are having, obviously this piston is, while piston is expanding, so that piston is carrying certain amount of exergy in the form of the work. Okay, so in form of work, if you see over here, we will be having minus, say W is my reversible work. Okay, now this is a system of moving boundary, because boundary is expanding. We are getting over here displacement work, so it will actually try to compress its immediate surrounding. So immediate, there will be certain amount of work which is done on the immediate surrounding. Okay, so that's why I have to write over here with this W minus P naught times D into V. Okay, so minus P naught times dV will be coming over here. So this is the exergy associated with heat. This is exergy associated with work. Okay, now so I can call it as, say, x heat or x work. Okay, then x mass will be 0 over here, because this is a closed system. We will not be having any mass interaction across the boundary. So x mass will be 0 over here. And now if I write exergy destruction, so exergy destruction will be minus T naught time S generation, that will be equal to change in exergy of the system. So change in exergy of the system I can write as, say, delta x. Okay, so this will be equal to my delta x. Now if I write this one for, say, change of state from 1 to 2. So for change of state from 1 to 2, I will be having heat transfer while process is changing from 1 to 2 into 1 minus T naught by T. Then I will be having work from 1 to 2 minus P naught times V2 minus V1. Okay, and minus T naught times S generation, and that will be equal to X2 minus X1. So this is how we can determine the change in exergy of a closed system by applying the exergy balance for the our closed system. Okay, now let me talk about the exergy equation in rate form. Okay, so if, say, I am having some process which is happening continuously with time, like in case of like our heat is actually a function of time. It means process is continuously moving in some cycle and processes are always continuing with time. Okay, so if I have to write this equation in the rate form, so rate form I will be having, instead of q I will be having q dot. Okay, so dot, I think now you all should know that when we write dot, we talk about del q by dt. It means the variation of q with time. So we are talking, when we write dot, we show the variation of that particular parameter with time. So if I write this equation in the rate form, it will be q dot times 1 minus t naught divided by t, okay, minus of w dot minus p naught into, in place of dv now we will be having dv divided by dt, the rate at which boundary of the system is actually changing. Okay, and minus we will be having t naught times s dot generation, and that will be equal to d into x divided by dt. Okay, so this is our equation of exergy balance in our rate form. Okay, so now this is concludes our discussion for the exergy balance in case of closed systems. Okay, now let us go ahead with the exergy balance for control volumes. So while we will be writing the exergy balance for the control volumes, apart from using the heat and work associated exergy, we have to also consider the exergy associated with the mass transfer. Okay, so let me write over here. So I'll be having q dot times 1 minus t naught divided by t, okay, minus w minus so now we will not be having minus over here, so we will be simply having w dot. Okay, why? Because now we are talking about exergy balance for control volume. Control volume means we are having the volume of our system which is under observation as fixed. Okay, so it means boundary of the control volume is not changing. So if boundary of the control volume is not changing, so dv by dt term will be 0 over here, because dv is 0. So that's why I will be only having minus w naught over here. And apart from that, so this is the exergy associated with heat. This is the exergy associated with work. Now we have to also consider the exergy associated with mass. Okay, so into the control volume, we may have certain amount of inflow of mass. So let me write the exergy associated with inflow mass. So m dot I is, say, the rate at which stream is coming into the system, and we know the exergy associated with flowing stream is nothing but psi. Okay, so it will be having some psi I as the exergy associated with the inflowing stream. Okay, then I will be having some stream, say, which is going out of the system. So minus m dot o into psi o will be actually exergy which is going out with the mass. So this entire quantity represents the exergy associated with mass. Then we will be having destruction of exergy, so t naught into s generation, and that whole will be nothing but equal to dx of the control volume divided by dt, the rate at which exergy of the control volume is changing. Okay, so now if we have, say, multiple heat, work and mass interactions, so in general, more general sense, I can include one summation sign over here. So summation sign will include the effect of multiple heat and work interactions. Okay, and then apart from that, if I have, say, multiple inflowing streams, so I'll be having summation of m dot I into psi I. Okay, and similarly, if I have, say, multiple outflowing streams, then I'll be having summation of m dot o into psi o minus t naught into s dot generation, that will be equal to d into x cv divided by dt. Okay, so this is how we can write the generalized form of exergy balance equation for any of our control volume. Okay, and if the processes inside the control volume are taking place in a reversible manner, then this s generation term will be equal to 0. And finally, I will be finding that summation of q dot into 1 minus t naught by t minus all the work interactions plus sum of mi dot into psi I minus summation of m dot o into psi o will be equal to d into x cv divided by dt. Okay, Now let me go ahead with the further simplification of the control volume for a special case. Now let me consider the special case exergy balance for steady flow systems. Okay, so steady flow is also a control volume systems where the mass of inflowing stream is equal to mass of outflowing stream, and let me define that one as equal to m dot. Okay, and similarly, if we are having our steady flow condition, as I told you that exergy is also a property of the system, so it's basically a combined property of system and surrounding, because it also requires the information of surroundings. So for steady flow device, dxcv divided by dt will also be equal to 0, and finally we will be finding that say summation of q dot times 1 minus t naught by t minus summation of w dot plus summation of m dot into psi I minus psi O. Okay, so I will be having summation of m dot into psi I minus psi O and minus t naught times S generation, that will be equal to 0 over here. Okay, now let me talk about only for single inflow and outflow streams. So if I have single inflow and outflow streams, in that case, what will be happening? In that case, you can see over here, and also say heat and work interactions are also single. So I'll be having q dot times 1 minus t naught by t minus w dot plus m dot into psi I minus psi O, the minus of t naught into S generation will be equal to 0. So from here, if I have to calculate the reversible amount of work, so reversible amount of work for that particular system will be our exergy associated with the system. Okay, so exergy associated with the steady flow device will be equal to q dot times 1 minus t naught by t, okay, plus m dot times psi I minus psi O, okay, and we will be having minus t naught times S generation. So this is how we can calculate the maximum potential of reversible work which is associated with the steady flow device. Okay, so for example, you may have any device. If you are having turbine, and in the turbine you are having heat interaction also, and you are having irreversible process also, so you will be finding that this will be the generalized equation in order to estimate the exergy associated with the turbine. Now if we have to calculate say only the cases, if we put some restriction, so what will be happening? For a reversible case, I will be finding w dot as equal to q dot times 1 minus t naught by t plus m dot into psi I minus psi naught. Okay, and if we talk about further assumption of adiabatic case, so in case of adiabatic case, what will be happening? For adiabatic case, I will be having w dot equal to m dot times psi I minus psi O. Okay, so if I take a turbine, so let me just demonstrate one example over here. So if I take a turbine, for the case of turbine, we know we are having reversible adiabatic process and it's a steady flow device. So at inlet, our stream enters at m dot I and with enthalpy Hi, and outlet I will be having enthalpy Ho, and same mass will be flowing out. Okay, so whatever the work this turbine will be doing, actual amount of work this turbine will be doing, or let me also call that as also some w dot amount of work, because process is now I am considering that it is happening in reversible adiabatic manner. Okay, so the amount of work done associated with this turbine, that will be equal to m dot times Hi minus Ho, whereas the actual amount of work or maximum potential of work available with this particular device, w dot is equal to m dot times psi I minus psi O. Okay, so from here I can define second law efficiency in one more sense, or I can call it as my exergy efficiency also. So I can write this as in another sense also, as the reversible amount of work whatever I am getting from the turbine divided by what is the maximum potential of work turbine is having. Okay, so here you can see the actual amount of work which we are getting from the turbine, that is our m dot times hi minus ho. That is the amount of work done which we are getting from the turbine, but whatever the exergy is associated with the turbine, so that is m dot times psi I minus psi o. Okay, so this is how we can actually estimate the performance of the turbine, that whatever the exergy we have supplied, so m dot into psi I minus psi o is basically the exergy we have supplied, that is the maximum potential up to which turbine can produce the work. But in actual, turbine is producing the work m dot times hi minus ho. So that's why this m dot times hi minus ho divided by m dot into psi I minus psi o is nothing but our exergy, or we can call it as exergy efficiency, or we can call it as our second law efficiency for our turbine, because it represents the whatever the reversible work it can it is doing, and what is the maximum potential of work that is associated with that particular device. Okay, so that's why we will be calling it, mainly we will be calling it as our exergy efficiency. Okay, so similarly, if I have to define the exergy efficiency for another devices which are not producing any amount of work, okay, we may have some devices where only we are having heat and mass interaction, and we know that exergy is also associated with the heat and mass interactions. So generally we define efficiency, exergy efficiency for such devices by using the general term as exergy extracted. So we call our amount of exergy what we have extracted divided by what is the amount of exergy which we have supplied. Okay, so we define this efficiency as exergy extracted divided by exergy supplied. So now I can write exergy extracted as exergy supplied, whatever exergy I am supplying. Okay, so let me write over here. So I can also write this exergy extracted as exergy supplied minus irreversibility. Okay, so minus, I can write over here exergy destructed. So exergy supplied minus exergy destructed divided by exergy supplied. Okay, so whatever exergy we are able to extract, that will be nothing but exergy supplied minus what amount of exergy has destructed. So divided by, we will be having exergy supplied. So this is how we can define this efficiency. So finally my efficiency may take the form as 1 minus exergy supplied will be cancelling over here, so 1 minus x destructed divided by x supplied. Okay, so now let me take the example of one heat exchanger over here. So I have a heat exchanger where surrounding temperature is T0, and we are having some hot stream which is changing its thermodynamic state from 1 to 2, and we are having one cold stream which is changing its state from 3 to 4. So we will be having some transfer of heat from hot medium into the cold medium. Okay, so now you can find out our heat is transferring from hot to cold. So it means hot stream is actually supplying exergy to our cold stream, and cold stream is extracting some fraction of that exergy. Okay, so what I can do, I can calculate over here exergy supplied. As I told you that heat is transferring from hot to cold medium, so therefore exergy is supplied by the hot stream. So exergy supplied by hot stream will be equal to mass flow rate of hot medium into, so it has entered at state 1 and it is leaving at state 2. So exergy change will be psi 1 minus psi 2. So this is the exergy supplied. And how much amount of exergy is extracted? So if you have to calculate what amount of exergy this cold medium has extracted, so this cold medium is say moving at the rate of m dot c. So its state is changing from 3 to 4. So I can write because its final state will be having more exergy. Okay, because it is gaining some exergy, it is extracting some exergy. So that's why I can write as psi 4 minus psi 3. So from here I can define the efficiency of this heat exchanger device as equal to exergy extracted, which is m dot c into psi 4 minus psi 3 divided by exergy supplied, which is m dot h into psi 1 minus psi 2. Apart from that, I can also define this in the other sense as 1 minus exergy destructed. So exergy destructed will be say T naught times S generation, and divided by exergy supplied is our m dot h into psi 1 minus psi 2. So now if you have to apply the second formulation, we have to find out the value of S generation. So how to find out S generation? So if you see, if you write down the change of entropy for the hot stream. So for the hot stream, we are having S2 minus S1 equal to S2 minus S1 equal to I will be having minus del Q by T plus say some S generation 1 over here. Okay. And if I have to write the same formulation for cold stream, I will be having S4 minus S3 as entropy change. Okay. That will be equal to, cold stream is gaining heat, so plus del Q by T. Okay, and plus some S generation during this heat transfer process, say S generation 2. So from here, if you have to calculate total S generation, so total S generation will be S generation 1. So total S generation will be S generation 1 plus S generation 2. Okay, so now this dq by t effect you can cancel out while you will be taking the summation. Why you can cancel out? Because one is negative, one is positive. Okay, so these will be having the same magnitude. So that's why total S generation I will be finding as S2 minus S1 plus S4 minus S3. So this is how we can calculate our total entropy generation, and we can calculate the efficiency of this heat exchanger device. So basically we call this as exergy efficiency, or I can also call it as second law efficiency for this steady flow device. Okay. Now let me also give one final example. So let me consider that I have some adiabatic mixing of streams. So say one stream is entering with m dot 1 mass flow rate, another stream is entering with m dot 2 mass flow rate, and these are mixing inside a mixing chamber, and after mixing, say I am getting final as m dot 3 stream. Okay. So for this case, if I have to define exergy efficiency or second law efficiency, that will be equal to exergy extracted. So you can see M1 and M2 are coming, and finally it is becoming M3. So while M1 and M2 has mixed, as this has become M3, so final exergy, whatever we have extracted, that will be m dot 3 only. Okay. So we will be having m dot 3 into psi 3 as exergy extracted, and in order to extract this exergy, what amount of exergy we have supplied? We have supplied m dot 1 mass at the initial exergy value of psi 1, and we have added m dot 2 mass at the initial exergy value of psi 3. Okay, so this is how we can calculate the second law efficiency or exergy efficiency for our different devices which does not involve the work interaction. Okay, so wherever we are having the work interaction, there we try to define the efficiency in terms of work. But when we are not having work, we have seen, because we are having the interaction of exergy with the heat and mass also. So that's why by considering this heat and mass interaction also, we can define our second law efficiency for different kind of devices. Okay. So with this, this particular topic of exergy is also complete, and moreover, our syllabus for this course, Engineering Thermodynamics, is also now complete. Okay. So all the best for your exams, and in between, if you are having any queries, that we can take up in doubt clearing session.